for all the generosity. Most respected Honorable Minister, Government of India, who happens to be an alumnus of Banaras University where I actually hail from. And he is also a neighbor of Banaras. My residence and his residence are almost 2 kilometers apart. Our guest of honor, Professor Dinesh Sharma ji, who is my next door neighbor here, and a very proud alumnus of University of Lucknow, former Deputy Chief Minister and also Higher Education Minister. I also welcome in absentia Shri Ashwini Chaubey ji, who is Minister of State for number of ministries, especially that requires special mention in light of the issue of sustainability that we're talking of. So many of the issues of sustainability like food, climate change, forest, environment, all lies within his purview. So I'm welcoming him. He's on his way. He may join us very soon. Head Department of Commerce and convener of this conference. The officials of Indian Accounting Association, who are the co-host of this international conference. Esteemed colleagues from the fraternity, from not just India but also abroad, my university colleagues, friends from press and media, and very, very dear students. It's indeed a proud moment to have hosted such a wonderful conference where the number of people standing outside are equal to the number of people who are sitting inside. So I wish the organizers would have taken this into account and would have hosted it at a relatively bigger pandal. But then this is a request that is to be made to all the distinguished guests who are coming, that this institution needs a bigger auditorium to account for all these greater reservoir of people who keep coming to our institution. And on behalf of the university and also on my personal behalf, as was said by Head Department of Commerce and also by Dr. Geetika, who was saying this time and again that let me welcome you to the first institution of this state to have been accredited with NAAC A++ and all the rankings, national and international. Probably we are the only institution in the country to have done this. Also, at this moment, I very proudly announce that I welcome you all to the university which is hosting the next Indian Science Congress scheduled on 3rd to 7th January 2024. So, this is a conference which is based on, the topic says, attaining sustainability. In academics, we jokingly say that conferences are paid leaves, largely for roaming and fooding. But we at the University of Lucknow very sincerely believe that we shall certainly ponder over some issues that will give some meaningful outcome to the issues and challenges of not just the discipline, but also of the system, society and the country, and we'll try to arrive at some meaningful conclusion. Like, for example, the issue says attaining sustainability. Now, where does this sustainability comes from? Because before sustainability, there has to have benchmark. After all, sustainability of what? So we need to have a benchmark. Now, how to arrive at that benchmark? Don't we need set of plan, programs and policies? Now, there are a variety of plans, programs and policies that are designed to devise certain benchmarks, and institutions and organizations gear up to arrive at those benchmarks. Once we arrive at those benchmarks, like for example we attained A++, now the onus lies on the institution to retain this, and this is where the issue of sustainability comes in. Like for example, to share certain statistics, India is striving for $5 trillion economy and many of you must have heard of, that government of Uttar Pradesh is striving for $1 trillion economy. We constitute to almost 20%, 17-18% of the total Indian population. So our target is also like that. So if it is 20% to that $5 trillion economy, with respect to population, we need to have a contribution to this overall GDP of the country to be almost in the range of 20%. So maybe $1 trillion economy. Now let us go to a certain fact. What is the country's GDP and what is the UP's contribution to the total GDP collection? Is it 20%? Any idea? No. It is almost 8-9%. So if our population is around 18% and our contribution to the GST collection, which is one of the indicators of the economy, is 8-9%. So not just we have to ensure the pace of our growth at this, but also we are going to double it. This will help us for, we need to design plans, programs and policies, ensure its implementations, and then we'll be able to arrive at certain benchmarks. Once we arrive at those benchmarks, then only we can talk of sustaining those benchmarks. So it is indeed a very, very complex process. Very, very complex process that we are going to attain. Now for all these economic growth, because largely the topic says India marching towards the third largest economy post 75 years of independence. So I believe we are largely addressing the issue of economic sustainability. This economic sustainability indeed have got, of course, sustainability has a lot of indicators. At the University of Lucknow, we recently prepared our document, Sustainable Development Goals, UNDP 17 Sustainable Development Goals, you must have heard of. We at the University of Lucknow have recently come up with a document with a kind of midterm review in light of the progress that state of Uttar Pradesh has made. And we are certainly marching towards that direction. What all the gap areas are, we are going to identify and we are going to suggest the government to bridge those gaps so that we can ensure the kind of SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, on all those surrounding parameters that UNDP has identified. Now here, what we are doing is, we are trying to find out those economically sustainable goals, how can they be achieved. So I believe this entire conglomerate of intellectuals coming from not just the country but also abroad, they ponder over this issue and try and find out some specific measure that may help the policymakers, the institutions and also the discipline to arrive at something which will, again I bring your attention to the fact that not just that our current contribution, like for example one indicator of GST that I just talked of, if we are lying at around 50%, we not just have to maintain those 50% but also have to double it in the time frame that we have set for ourselves. So from 9 to 18, matching to the percentage population that UP has with respect to the entire country, and then after achieving that benchmark, we are going to talk of sustainability. For indeed, a lot of plans, procedures, programs and policies are to design. I'll share one simple small initiative of state of Uttar Pradesh that is there. Very recently we have had an investor summit with enormous response, huge response. Now to convert those responses into actually reaching out to the ground. So Udyami Mitra scheme has been initiated. Those will be the professionals trained to match and facilitate all the entrepreneurs who are coming to this. They will be facilitated with all the government, because bureaucracy is said to be the biggest handicap with respect to the growth and implementation of all these schemes. So to address that issue, Government of Uttar Pradesh has very subtly and very appropriately designed this concept and are implementing this. So similarly, a lot of such new initiatives and programs and policies shall be designed, shall come out of this conference as an outcome and will support not just the policy makers but also the discipline with the outcome that will come out of this 2 days deliberation. I again in person now welcome our special guest, Shri Ashwini Chaudhary, who has a lot to do in the wake of sustainability issue of this. So I also congratulate the organizers to not just have found out a very, very interesting topic, but also pool some very, very contributing brains from the country and also from abroad who will make a genuine contribution for sustenance of the discipline. Thank you very much.